for me, being someone who is inherently anxious and less confident and just closer to the side, I'm a very optimistic person, but within that, I'm fighting a inherently pessimistic person. Okay. You know, I try to be optimistic. It's not something that comes naturally to me. And as a result of that, I've become more and more in tune with the fact that my predispositions towards negative traits provide me with a very unique opportunity that people who don't have that don't get. And what I mean by that is, you will understand that when you improve at something, when you get over something, that feels a lot better than just being bestowed the ability to do that. I would rather, when I look at it with the two options in front of me, overcome something I'm scared of and acquire the skill that comes with it, than just be able to do whatever it is. And what that frame has provided me with is what I feel is a very unique edge, because you're taking your weaknesses and you're basically saying to yourself, I have an opportunity here to provide myself with more inherent confidence than other people may ever be able to get, because what I will be telling myself when I complete this is, I was terrified to do that and I did it anyway, and no one can take that away from you. And what I'm saying there is, when you are someone who has an inherent sense of lack of confidence or anxiety or any of these sort of neighbouring feelings, negative feelings, when you've got that, there is within there, if you spin it correctly, a sort of, in many respects, a blessing of the fact you have an opportunity to overcome something that will make you stronger once you overcome it. Now, of course, the struggle comes with overcoming it, but that is something that's absolutely in your control. And I think part of understanding that's in your control is realising that with this negative feeling that you've sort of been born with towards something, that you've got a chance to overcome something that will make you a lot stronger.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I think that's true. Like, I was going to relate this to what I've started to do recently. As well, if not recently, I've been football coaching for a while, right? And I coached yesterday, and I coached these 6-7-year-olds, and at the start I was like, okay, I need to be confident with these guys, even though they're younger. It doesn't matter if you're not a naturally confident person. So I'd be like, okay guys, come in. They don't listen, and then it's like, okay, I need to be louder, I need to do this, I need to not be afraid to speak in the front. Like, it's not just the kids that I was trying to get listen, there was other teachers watching. I had to like be confident in the situation. And then now I do it, and it's not just practice, like, it is practice, because at first I was still good, they still listened, there's a new person coming in, they're gonna mess around, whatever. I did it yesterday for I don't know how many times. The kids respect me, they really enjoy playing the football that we go do. We do a little bit of free time at the start. I just mess around. They're having fun, and then all of a sudden, I can shout. I can do whatever. I can be louder, and it's just from practice. And now they're enjoying football club. They're like, "Oh, are you coming back next week? Are you doing this? Oh, can you teach me this skill? Can you do this?" And what you don't realise is, like, I was just messing around. I was spinning the ball on my finger. A kid watches, and he was like, how'd you do that? How'd you do that? And I was like, oh, like, I was just messing around. But, like, he wanted to know how to do that. He was so mesmerised that I was spinning the ball, balancing it on my finger. And he was like, okay, yeah. And I was like, yeah, I'll teach you, whatever. All of a sudden, that's giving you confidence because you're doing skills that people don't normally think you do.
Yeah.
And I was doing that there. And, like, the other day, a kid was messing around, and then the ball's come over to me, and I had 2 balls in my hand, and I've controlled it and then caught it, and they were like, whoa, 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 and I was like, yeah, but that's cool, but, like, it gave you confidence, because, like, I don't know, it's weird, because I think from younger people, because they look up to you, like, I know you've probably seen this as well, like, babies would just stare at you sometimes. And I think it's because they're interested. They're like, oh, I don't really, like, why does this person look like this, whatever.
I think they might just be looking at my haircut.
Yeah, well, maybe that's what you might think, but then they're like, how'd you have that much hair or whatever? But I think but from the beginning when I was a coach, even though I know what I'm doing, to now when I'm a coach, because I've practiced it, I've become more confident.
Yeah.
And I think confidence isn't just pretending, it's also it can still come to you. Even though that you're not a naturally confident person, now when I go coach these kids, I enjoy it more because they enjoy it more, and I feel more confident, even though I'm just coaching kids, which I shouldn't even care about judging me or whatever. But I still want to not impress them, be a kind of role model for them. And I think I am now. Like, this kid came up to me and he was like, oh, do you know that Ballers place in Bluewater? And I was like, yeah, funny story actually. I'm a lot of the advertisement of that place. And then he was like, oh yeah, I think I've seen that poster in Bluewater. And I thought that was, and I was like, yeah, that's me. And he was like, oh yeah, it is. I thought that was, he said something like, I thought that was Ronaldo Jr. or something. And I was like, no, that's me. And
yeah,
he was like, he was so impressed that was me and that I'm his football coach.
Yeah.
It gave me a lot of confidence, even though like it's just from a kid. You know what I mean? It can be, you can get it from anyone, not just like I can go into a room of adults and feel like, oh, okay, I'm going into a new job here. I'm new. I don't know what I'm doing. Or you can go in and then just speak straight away and show you're confident, even though you're not. But just to show it, you'll go further than just to be quiet. I mean, probably when I go get my new job to start with, I will be that quiet person.
Yeah.
Which everyone will do. I'm not gonna naturally go, and it doesn't matter. And I think people listening to this, it doesn't matter if you're not confident straight away, because even if you pretend to be confident, some are good at it, some aren't.
Yeah.
Like, you can pretend to be confident and then still come across as not confident. You've got to do it in a certain way, which is hard. You need to find like a balance. But yeah, I think you're not always naturally born with confidence, but you can work on it.
Absolutely.
And I noticed that through coaching these younger children. Like, at the start, I still, even though I know what I was doing, I didn't know how to handle it as much. When I get given a group of 15, 8-year-olds to deal with all on my own, I'm like, okay, I need to be loud here, because if I'm not loud, they're just going to take advantage and just mess around. And now I coach like even younger ones, and I quite like them because they're nicer. Like 8-year-olds at the moment are just rude, most of them. But the 5 and 4-year-olds, and I prefer coaching them. And even though their attention span isn't as high, they are still interested in what they're doing. They just kind of go off a little bit, but it doesn't really matter, and it's kind of rewarding, and they still give you confidence, even if it's just younger people. I think people always think confidence, I need to get recognition and respect of older people.
Yeah, or the prestige.
Or the people that have been in that workplace for a while. Like, it doesn't really matter as long as it's improving your confidence. So yeah, that's what I think of that.
Where do you think your opinion lies when it comes to knowing that there are things that you were once either scared of doing or just sort of lacking confidence, that you now look and you're like, I can do that? How does that make you feel?
Yeah, I think it's good, because I always used to think that when I was in reception, and then everyone in the reception would look at the year 6s, and they'd be like, okay, they're cool. What am I going to look like when I'm that age? What am I going to be like? Can I still play football at that age?
You would hope so.
Yeah, I would. And or how good will I be, was what I was getting at. And then I used to do that a lot. And then you probably think, hold on, the kids that I coach are thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So it makes you think how it all works. Like, we're probably looking at, I don't know, 25, 30-year-olds. Are we going to look any different? Where are we going to be?
We've all got our idols.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I think that's just people's mindset really of what they're thinking.
It's a sort of built-in way of affirming what you want the future to be like, because we're so the future is a scary prospect. It's oftentimes an exciting one, but because it resides within the realm of uncertainty, you look for idols and people who are doing well as a sort of grounding, a base of sorts for what you want the future to look like, which is very useful, because it provides you with sort of a look forward as to what it is that you want.
Yeah, and I think that's why, I mean, we all have a plan and we all have like a dream future. Yeah. But I think that's what the important thing is of, if you want it, you have to go get it, and you have to stay consistent with doing it.
There's you voice this and you act in this way better than 99.99% of people that I've ever met, and that puts you as the only percentage. Yeah, but there's a quote that I love on this that I'm ever more frequently voicing to people and sort of putting into my own psyche. Nothing changes if nothing changes.
Yes, I remember saying this the other day. Yeah, it's true. And my days, it's not the same, but it's very consistent of, okay, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go coach, and I've got train, and I'm going to do this. And then I wake up and I do it the next day. And that is the same every day. And then I'm thinking, hold on, how is this going to change if I want to then go play higher or go do this? And I think a big stepping stone for me is what I've seen is next season. That's going to be my biggest kind of... It's going to be like not a make or break of my career, but a very important stepping stone for what I'm going to do next. Because I'm in like non-league and I'm young, I need to have a good season. I know that, and I'm putting in the hours in the gym and the consistency. And even though it's still the same thing every day, it's building up to a point where I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to be playing, hopefully, a lot of football, where I can hopefully, all the stuff that I've worked on throughout this whole time being consistent, it will show in these games. I'll get stats, I'll get noticed, and then I can work up and go up the steps. So I think, nothing changes if nothing changes. But, for example, right now I'm being very consistent in the gym, working on my mentality and doing all these things to try and help me be confident mostly, because I know I have the ability, even to play higher, but I'm not there yet. So there's a reason why I'm not there. So I've got to start here and then go. So,
but even then, though, sorry just to cut you off, I want to tie a point there, and then I'm going to let you run with this. I have thought quite a lot about because, as I say, I have been thinking about the sort of nothing changes if nothing changes. It's an aphorism that is only applicable to certain situations. Yeah. And what I mean by that is, I would say it's the go-to saying for changing something that you want to change. Yeah. When it comes to the good stuff, as someone who practices consistency consistently, if there are certain things that you don't need to change, nor should you want to. You know, if you're going to the gym every day and you're studying or whatever positive things you're doing for yourself, you don't want to change that.
I think it relates to the negatives.
So you don't need to change it. I think nothing changes if nothing changes is a quote or a sentiment that should only be voiced towards things that you want to change. Yeah. If you're not content with the way something is, that's when you use that phrase.
I think that's right, because I think it's related to all the negative stuff people do. Yeah. So maybe, I don't know, what maybe drinking too much or eating too much fast food.
I suppose, sorry, just in fairness, actually, I suppose you could say it cuts both ways with that on the front of nothing changes if nothing changes. Well, I don't want this to change, so I'm happy for nothing to change.
Yeah, and I think, obviously, if people want to lose weight or want to do this, okay, but you still drink every day and you still eat too much McDonald's every day. So that's where nothing changes if nothing changes would be beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, nothing changes if nothing changes. Obviously, if I'm consistent in the gym, something is going to change. That's the positive side. But I think it's a phrase definitely for the negatives, and if you do want it to change. So, for example, wanting to lose weight, if you're not exercising, that's not changing. But if you go exercise, you'll lose weight. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's a bit interesting. It's an interesting quote, but I think if you take it the right way, it can be really, really beneficial to people.
Quite possibly my favourite on that front. What I am going to ask of you now is, with that being said, I'd like you to go into this coming season. I want you to talk about that. I want you to talk about how you're feeling and take it where you want to take it where you want to take it. You got the reins.
Well, I think hopefully, I feel good for a start, but hopefully all the hard work that I've put in, a lot of people haven't been doing that. Maybe they have, and if they have, I feel like I've pushed myself to a very high level of what I needed to work on. For example, I needed to work on my upper body, I think going into non-league, and as you're a man, basically, I think a lot of managers see me as a young boy, because I'm like, I look physically young, I just see, and against like a 30-year-old, they think automatically, oh, how's he going to cope? And I think hopefully they just realise the ability that I have, hopefully. And if they don't, then whatever. But I still know that I'm better, and I need to physically show that, because I can still know that I'm better and not play better. So I think going into the season I feel good. I'm excited for pre-season that starts soon, and I need to show myself in pre-season because I think that's a main part. I am going on holiday during the pre-season, which is, I wasn't actually planning on going. My brother's going with his girlfriend, and they have a villa, and they asked me to go a while ago, and my mum actually kindly paid for my flight, and without me knowing, she went, oh, you're going on holiday in June? I was like, oh, I know that was really nice, but I'm really focused on football, and I wanted to know where it lied, and I was like, okay, whatever, it's pre-season, it doesn't really, it matters, but the pre-season long, I'm only going for 10 days, so it'll be a good time to relax, because I've been very consistent. I think it's come at quite a good time. Yeah. I'll have a couple of sessions before, and then I'll go on holiday, and then I'll come back, and I'm not the type of person just to fall off. I'll still keep it going, and then hopefully in pre-season I can impress the coach enough to then get playing. And I see myself higher than the level I'm at, hopefully it should give me the confidence to play better. If it doesn't, and I'm not playing, we'll get to that, but I think because I've got to say that I want to be higher, if I want to go all the way to the top, I can't be playing terrible at this league, you know what I mean? If I want to be there, I have to be better. And I know I am, I just need to show it, and I think it comes with confidence, and I think we'll see from the first, I'll go in confident, but if it doesn't happen straight away, I've got to not let it kind of get to me. If it's a very serious kind of situation that I'm in, but I need to take advantage of it. If I don't, then I've got to start thinking about other jobs which I don't want to do at all.
I'm going to act as the paragon of hope here, and I'm going to say that I'd kick that thought in the arse for a while, yeah. Because I think this is something that I have come into plenty of conflict with plenty of people on for saying this.
What's that?
But I hate backup plans.
You know what,
I fucking hate
You'd
them.
like this, okay? So everyone that says, you'll agree with me on this as well, everyone that says, oh, you want to be a pro footballer? Everyone wants to be a pro footballer. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. So what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Everyone wants to be rich.
Yeah,
everyone
you
want to be
rich. Yeah, I'm not going to put you down.
There's this idea around the sort of the profligate elements of life that it's almost like there's rations. There's not enough of it for everyone.
Yeah,
there's plenty of cake for it. There's plenty of good to go around for everyone, and everyone wants to be a footballer, or a lot of people want to be a footballer, but how many people actually do enough work to be one?
Yeah,
and even within that, there's so many variations of that if you're the one that decides to apply yourself, it doesn't matter who else is working around you, because you're doing what other people aren't.
Yeah, and if you're doing it right, it will come, and that's what I like to believe. If I'm doing all the right things, which I think I am, and all I have to do is take my chances, then a contract will come and a contract will start to offer me, teams will start to realise. But I think...
what did your mum say?
Backup plans, yeah. So she believes that I can. My dad believes that I can. And then they go, but you need a backup plan. And when I said this ages ago, I think they said, you need a backup plan. I said I wanted to be a pro footballer since I can't even remember. I never said I wanted to be anything else. And they were like, yeah, but you do need a backup plan. And this was when I was young, like really young. And they were like, you need a backup plan. And I was like, okay. They used it as plan A and plan B. You need a plan B. And I don't know if this is a quote or anything, but I remember saying it when I was younger. My plan B is my plan A.
Yes, yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
I was like, my plan B is if I'm not a pro football, if I'm not like, okay, so my plan A was one of the best footballers that you can get to, like the highest level. And then my plan B was like, still pro footballer. I'm still want to be a footballer. Like, it's still my plan. And if I aim for the top, I might not get to the top, but I'll get a pro footballer still.
Yeah.
And that's what they were. So, yeah, but you need something else. And I was like, okay, well, I'll still focus in school. I'm not going to be an idiot in school. I'll get my grades and whatever I need to do. Like, loads of people don't know what they're doing now. So if football doesn't work out in a few years' time and I'm not where I want to be, okay, maybe I'll have to look at something else. But I'll still be good enough at football to make money, and I'll be playing semi-pro, and I'll be fine. And if I didn't think I would be playing semi-pro when I was younger and I just gave up on that, I'd probably fall off completely and I won't be playing football anymore.
Yeah.
So the plan is always to push for higher. I wouldn't like to only be a semi-professional footballer. I would like to be a pro, and I'd like to be on like full-time contract. But yeah, when their parents were like, oh yeah, but you need this, you need a plan B, you need to, I don't know, maybe go into this. If I go into that, all my focus isn't on this anymore.
Absolutely.
So I don't have that full focus is what you need, especially if everyone wants to be it, like you said. If I have a plan B, how am I going to be fully focused on plan A?
You're dividing your resources.
Exactly. So the focus that I've had of being a professional footballer for my whole life, I think, has been beneficial to me. And it's got me in the situation where I am. I went to America and I did well in the scholarship there. But now I'm back, and I'm at an age now where it needs to happen pretty soon.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But I'm going to say, I want to spell this out and make it pretty clear. Fuck your plan B.
Yeah,
and
I don't have one.
No, I'm going to say this.
True.
I think the most consistently said thing to people who aspire for great things is, you need a plan B. If, as we've touched on there, if you are striving for something that a lot of people want and that it's hard to get, you don't have enough resources to divide yourself. You need to put everything you have into what you want. And as a result of that, you don't have time for a plan B right now. You do everything you can to create what it is that you're looking for. And if it goes wrong, I stand firm to say you will acquire so many valuable skills, be it discipline, grit, determination, the skills themselves of what you're doing,
and you'll be fine.
Experience.
Yeah.
You will provide yourself with a vast array of qualities that anyone who has just decided to take the most benign, boring of routes towards things because they weren't strong enough to aspire for something, they won't have those things. You will. And as a result of that, if it doesn't work for you, that's fine. You can go again. You have time. If it doesn't work this time and you need to pivot, you work that out later. But for now, plan A.
And I think when I told my parents, when they said it when I was younger, I think they realised. Because I knew that, I think what made my parents realise was when I was playing football when I was younger and I was walking out of Chelsea training ground about to go play a game. And they were like, okay, shit, he might actually make it. Like, he's in a very good position right now. He's still one of the best players on the pitch. Like, they didn't just say this because they were my parents. He's still getting seen. He can be there. And just that little belief that they told me that one day, I was like, okay, you do believe. Even though I'm getting older, you still believe. Both of them, when I said I'm very focused on my plan A, they didn't just not support it, they support it now. They think I can get there, which is really rewarding and really kind of, it builds my confidence for that. And it makes me think, I always think, like, all the stuff they've done for me, I'm not going to be one of those footballers that earn all the money and then fuck off. I'm going to be one, to give back all the people that have lifted me to all these places. I want to like pay off the mortgage or whatever, or buy my parents a new house. Like I want to do that with the money. I don't want to just go splash on designer clothes or whatever, like whatever they do. But I think that's another driving factor that I have of, if I do make this, I'm going to do good with it.
And that's a very strong fuel, very potent.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's not just impressing people, it's impressing myself more than other people. Like I want to go do it because I've had this feeling my whole life.
Yeah.
And then I want to give back to the people that have helped me through it.
You've got a point to prove.
Yeah. And I think that's what I'm going to do that. But it's just when that happens, and I think I'm doing all the right stuff to do it now.
Yeah,
so.
and that's the thing that I will forever say this. This will be the sentiment that I voice to my son whenever he finds his way into this world. Is I have the utmost respect and hope for anyone who wants to do something that is out of the ordinary. I love that. Yeah. It's character. Yeah. And I like when people are brave enough to understand that what they're going for is not necessarily the most common of things, and that's okay. I like when people are strong enough to embrace the fact that people will be... I get this quite often with the podcast, where you get some form of feeling that people sort of... people think, it's just a pipe dream, but good for you. Good for you.
Yeah. And I mean, I've got that as well. Like, okay, like the quote that we said before, everyone wants to be a pro footballer, you're not going to make it. Even all the academy players, they don't even make it. So how are you going to make it?
What about the millions of footballers that there are then? What about all of them?
How did they make it? Exactly. And I feel, and you've got to tell yourself, because if you don't, that's when you don't make it. You are one of those.
Yeah.
Why
can you not be?
Yeah, like, okay, why could they be then?
Exactly.
And why can't I be one of those? And you've just got to think that with whatever you do, really. So
it stands true to what is a classically English method of thought, but certainly just a human way of thinking, is you could look at all the examples of it going right and derive strength from that, or you can look at all the examples of it going wrong and you can enable yourself to act weakly as a result of knowing that. You've got a surplus of evidence on both fronts of success and failure. Now, riddle me this. Why, if you've got this much evidence that it goes right, are you choosing the evidence of it going wrong?
Why would I step back now,
Why? Why don't you provide yourself with the leeway to go, I don't care if people think that I'm mental for trying something that other people don't. Think that way. I don't care if you think, if it sounds odd to you. It sounds odd to you because you haven't done what I've done.
Yeah.
You haven't put the work in that I've put in. You haven't been where I've been. And as a result of that, of course you don't understand. You haven't done it. And I mean this in no sense at all to denigrate or ridicule anyone who doesn't put themselves towards things. I think my ubiquitous hope for as many people as possible is that you are happy, and that doesn't have to be through working hard. But what I will say is, I think for the people who are driven enough to do something like yourself, where you know that the odds are stacked against you, the people that are driven enough to do that anyway, to think, I know not everyone gets into this, but I don't care, I'm going to do it anyway because I want to. There's bollocks in that, and I have a lot of respect for that, and I think that's the standard way of being that you should be towards someone who aspires for something like that. It doesn't matter how uncertain it is. If someone's doing that, good for them. And what I would add to that is there's no certainty in anything, and the things that there are certainty in are not guarantees that you want. You can be certain that you will live a life where you are unfulfilled and you never felt as though you really strived to become what you might have been able to become if you never try. That's a guarantee. Do you want that guarantee?
Exactly.
I would wage probably not. Everything else besides that is abstract. You don't know whether anything's going to work. You could go into any career or choose any form of life, any path in any direction comes with uncertainty. So you choose which uncertainty you're willing to have. Would you rather have the uncertainty that ends with disappointment and not even a sense of fulfillment of at least even trying?
Yeah, because that's what I was about to say. If you haven't even tried, then...
Or would you like something that at least, even if it does go wrong, that you can say to yourself, no matter what, I did it. I went for it. At least I went for it. Because it's one of those things, it's regret, isn't it? That's what it boils back to.
Yeah, because then you can think, okay, what if I did try?
It's exactly, it's an unanswered question.
Yeah.
And there is nothing that is more painful than regret. Because you can't, it's the wanting to be where you once were and you'll never be there again. So whilst you are there, do something about it.
Yeah, and like I said, like it's with your podcast, the amount of hours that you put in that people don't know that you're putting in is insane. So
Thank you.
should, well, it will, I'm sure it will go places. The podcast will go places because of the effort you're putting in. Yeah, and it doesn't mean that other people can put you down and say, oh, how do you know if your podcast is going to go places? Well, how do you know if it... Yeah.
I don't.
And how do you know that if it isn't or not?
Yeah,
So,
very good point. Very good point.
I don't think people, and that's why I don't listen to these people either that say you have plan Bs or that you should say that, oh, you won't make it because a lot of people are doing it. There's lots of people doing podcasts. There's lots of people wanting to be footballers. And I'm like, okay, cool. But it doesn't really matter. If you want to do something, you've got to at least try. That's what I'm getting at. Like, if you don't try, like you said, you regret for not trying. But I think if you do the right amount of hours and all the stuff that you need to do and you're doing everything right, there's no reason why it won't go and be successful. So I think, and all those people, I think, that say it, they don't secretly don't want you to do it, but it's like, it's almost they don't believe it at all.
Have you heard of the crab in the bucket mentality?
No.
If you put crabs in a bucket, you don't have to put a lid on the bucket.
Oh yeah, because they won't get out.
No, because the ones that do try and get out, the other ones pull them down.
Okay.
And it's nothing personal to that crab, it's just the way that they are. They just pull each other down. Yeah. And I think humans are the same.
They do that. And it's like, I don't think a lot of people are, a lot of people are supportive, and they're supportive to their mates, and they're like, oh yeah, you should do this. But I think when you say something so extraordinary, like, I want to be a pro footballer, I want this podcast to go places, I want to do this, people just automatically think, what are you doing? So many podcasts are already out there, so many footballers are already playing and they're younger than you, and it's like, okay,
good for them. I'm
cool.
pleased.
Yeah, nice. I'm happy they've done that. And yeah, I'm happy they've done that, so why can't I? That's what you have to have. It's not he's 18 years old and he's already in the Prem. I'm this age, what am I going to do? It doesn't matter because people have different journeys. They've been in the academy since they were this age. Okay, they haven't been in men's football non-league that they need to get to because they weren't old enough to play in before. So what I like to say is people have different journeys. Like with your podcast, people have gone about it different ways. You've done your research, you're doing your own way, you're editing it and whatever. And hopefully, and I think it will go places. So, but it's with the right amount of effort, and I think you're putting more than enough, to be honest. So,
thank you, sir. I very much appreciate that.
That's all right.
It is well received words from yourself.
Thanks. Yeah.
And, I'd like to round this out by saying I think what you've touched on wonderfully there is there are no certainties, but there is a certainty that you'll find something good out if you at least try. I can't remember how it was that Chris Williamson said it, but he basically said there is no certainty in being consistent, but there is certainty in not being consistent. If you don't try, you won't get. If you do try, you might not. You might not get. But
you don't know if you don't.
If you don't even bother to try, you will guarantee that you won't get what you want. So you might as well try.
Exactly.
And with that being said, I have to say, this is quite possibly my favourite podcast I've done. I always enjoy talking to you. I think you're, as I said earlier, I love people who are radiate a sense of good feeling, and I always get that from you. I always feel like you're high on life and wanting to sort of perpetuate that feeling, and for that your company is always a pleasure.
Thank you, appreciate it. Likewise for you.
And with that being said, I'm going to do you know what I've made an annoying habit of?
What's that?
Is I'll say, and with that being said, and I'll turn to the camera like that, and someone will put their hand out to shake it.
Okay,
and
we can do that.
And no, the upsetting thing is, I'll look like that and I go, with that being said, and because my hand goes like this, people think that I'm putting my hand out to shake,
Okay.
and as a result, I leave them hanging. And I saw me do it to Denver from Dad Space, and then I accidentally did it to Alex as well. I caught Alex. I saw him, and I was like, I'm never leaving someone hanging ever again with the podcast.
Okay.
So, or ever. I don't want to leave anyone hanging. So with that being said, good to see you, bro.
I'll see you.
And good to see you too. See you in a bit.
Oh, podcast.
That's the strange thing when you come out on the podcast. You're like, oh shit, I'm still here.